Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. It's getting to be the end of the year, and I'm starting to see some top 50 most valuable or top 100 most valuable cards in my collection videos. I do plan on doing a top 100 most valuable cards in my collection video. Actually, I'll be splitting it up into two videos later this month. But I've also been seeing some top 10 pickup videos for the year. And I've been on YouTube for nearly 6 years now, and I don't think I've ever done a yearly recap of my top 10 pickups for the year. So I thought I would do one for this year. Now, my top 10 cards are not necessarily the top 10 most expensive cards for me for the year, but all 10 cards have a special meaning or significance to me for my collection. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show off my top 10 pickups for 2025. All right, starting at number 10. We have this 1955 Topps Ted Williams. Absolutely love this card. Love the colors of it, the centering, even though it's a low number grade, fit my budget. This was a national pickup and added to my mini Ted Williams run. I now have all of his Topps issued cards. Here's the back. Love this copy of the 55 Topps Ted Williams. At number 9 is the 58 Topps Frank Robinson. This one was a key for me to finishing his playing days run beyond his rookie card. This was the second most expensive card for me to pick up for Frank Robinson. Was looking for this for a long time. Decided to, I guess, splurge a little bit. I wasn't necessarily looking for a 5.5, but when I saw this copy compared to all the other ones I was looking at in terms of color, registration, and more importantly, centering, once I saw this one, I broke open the piggy bank a little bit and spent maybe a little bit more than I initially thought I was going to for this card, but so glad I picked up this copy. And like I said, it was the key one for me to be able to finish his playing days run this year. At number 8, this 1959 Topps Harmon Killebrew. Beyond just loving the card, the centering, the color, the image there of Harmon Killebrew, what I didn't realize until after I did a video showing the card off, that I realized or was told by Dylan Double D Vintage Baseball Cards that this was actually a card in his collection. I'm not sure whether I bought this for won it from a Four Sharp Corners auction or something. I can't remember. It was on eBay, and so I'm not sure exactly how it left Dylan's collection and ended up in mine, whether he sold it and then the seller resold it. Not sure exactly all the details, but once Dylan saw my video, he either recognized the card, the serial number, whatever, and said that this was actually a card in his collection. So that's what makes this card super special, that it was actually part of a fellow YouTuber's collection. I didn't buy it directly from Dylan, but it ultimately landed in my collection. So I thought that was super cool. So I definitely had to add this card here into my top 10 pickups for the year. At number 7 is a national pickup, and one that I didn't necessarily figure on looking for. It's on my 100 cards for $100,000 list, so it was a card I eventually wanted to look for. But given some of the other purchases I made at the National, I didn't think this was in the cards for me to pick up, knowing how expensive this card is, even in this grade of A2. The card does have some issues. It's a lower grade, but I think in general, still has some really nice eye appeal, fit my budget, which is also important. And I think it's just a great copy for my collection, and didn't think I would, at least at this stage, own a Whitey Ford rookie card, 51 Bowman. So this definitely was a surprise, a pleasant surprise purchase for me at the National. At number 6, this is a card that I had in my collection. I had the Frank Robinson in actually a PSA 5, but it was off center left to right. And just every time I looked at it, I noticed the off center because it's a fairly dark image and picture there. So you, at least for me, I noticed the white border a little bit more than, say, I would have had on other cards. And it bothered me every time I looked at the card. I had that card in my collection for, oh my gosh, I bet 20, 25 years. And it just bugged me. So I took the card out to Strongsville and sold it at trade night, and then took those funds and purchased this copy. So this is technically a replacement for the Frank Robinson rookie card that I had, but I'm treating this as a, obviously a pickup for the year, replacing the one that I sold. And I'm so happy with this copy now. It is a lot better centered than the one that I had, and now I can look at this Frank Robinson rookie card and just, now I can truly enjoy the card. So really happy about this pickup. This was an eBay pickup. So that's card number 6. Card number 5 is also another replacement. This is the 1953 Topps Warren Spahn. Now, I had a copy in I want to say I think it was a PS or a BVG 6. It was one of those cards that I eventually wanted to cross over to PSA. I brought it out to Strongsville, and turned out that Matt, the card story, who's a big Warren Spahn collector, looked at my card and noticed that the back had one of the print variations. Something was either in black ink or white ink. I forget which one. But he wanted to get both versions and didn't have the version that I had. So at trade night, we worked out a deal. We were going to do, I think it was a straight up trade, and then he ended up selling his Spahn in a PSA or something like that. So I ended up selling my BBG, I'm pretty sure it was a 6, to Matt. And then I took those proceeds and bought this really sharp looking copy in a PSA 4. So when you looked at the two side by side, they look pretty much the same in terms of centering, color, the black border down there, which is pretty darn good. Very little chipping, if anything. Here is the back. It very well could have been, if I had cracked out that BBG 6, it would have come back possibly a PSA 4 anyway. But here, I got to help out Matt with his Warren Spahn collection, and at the same time reacquire a Warren Spahn in a PSA slab for my collection. So it was a win-win all around. So I had to include this 53 Topps Warren Spahn in my top 10 pickups for the year. All right, we're in the top 4 now. This one's definitely not one of the most expensive cards I bought for the year, but definitely has a lot of meaning to me, and that's this 1978 Topps Eddie Murray rookie card. Now, I had completed the Hall of Fame run for 1978 tops, all the Hall of Famers. Now, I am missing now Dave Parker. Still trying to find that in a reasonably priced PSA 8, because for my 78s, I wanted all of them to be in either PSA 8s or 9s. It's just a special set for me. So I am doing, just sort of the buying the slab. I know don't normally do it, but I want really nice copies for my 78 Hall of Famers. Well, for budget purposes, I had all my Hall of Famers in PSA 8s or 9s except for 2 cards. The Eddie Murray rookie card, which I had in a PSA 6, and the Paul Molitor Alan Trammell rookie card in a PSA 6. So I knew one day I wanted to upgrade both of them to PSA 8 copies. And at Strongsville, at Trade Night, I did very well on Trade Night. I didn't do much trading. I did some selling and buying. But at the Strongsville Trade Night, Darren, returned to collecting, was selling some cards. And I noticed he had this PSA 8 copy. And I told him that I eventually wanted to upgrade my Eddie Murray rookie card. And he gave me a tremendous deal, a very, very generous deal on this card that I couldn't pass up. So now I have just one more card to upgrade, the Molitor Trammell rookie card to an 8. I still have the PSA 6 of this in my collection. Haven't sold it. It's always nice to have another Eddie Murray rookie card in your collection, but now I have this PSA 8 copy. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this is all thanks to Darren and his very generous sale offer to me that I couldn't pass up. So again, Darren, thank you so much for the deal in letting me acquire this PSA 8 copy. All right, at number 3 is the 54 Topps Ted Williams card number 1. Now, I always wanted to get, I had card number 250, and obviously I wanted his companion, card number 1, in the set. So this was on my 100 cards for $100,000 list. It was one that I eventually wanted to target. At last year's National, I saw this card. I think on the last day of the show, I had spent all my money. I think I was helping Eric Fourleaf find some cards for him to complete a set. And I saw this card in the display case and thought, man, that's a beautiful copy right there. And I just didn't have any money. And I think I jokingly said to the dealer, and his name's escaping me now. I should know it, Craig. And I said to Craig, man, I wish I had the money. Can you save it till next year's National? I think I may have made some comment. Well, he was at the Strongsville show this year, and I'm looking around day 1, and I pass by his display, and I see this card, the same exact card, and I said, is this the card that you had at last year's National? And he said, I believe it is. Once I saw it, I knew it was going to take the majority of my Strongsville budget, but this card, in my opinion, waited for me until I had the money to acquire it and add it to my collection. So happy to have been able to pick up card number 1 from the 1954 Topps set, this gorgeous Ted Williams. It was a card that waited for me since last year's National to this year's Strongsville show. At number 2, sort of like the Whitey Ford rookie card, but an even more expensive but a bigger surprise is this pickup at this year's National. The 1959 Topps Bob Gibson rookie card. Again, another card on my 100 cards for $100,000 list. So it eventually was one that I was going to target, but this was not on my target list at all at the National. Had not even an inkling of interest in looking for this card. until I stopped by was looking at one of the booths, just exploring the cards in their, display. And there was just something about this card that caught my eye. I looked at the price, looked at comps. I'm like, that's a decent price. And for a 4, it looks amazing. And so I was like, am I going to buy a Bob Gibson rookie card? And yes, I did. um, Definitely one of the, this was right up there with last year's national when I picked up the Stan Musial 48 Bowman rookie card. Just not on my radar at all. And so happy I picked up the Stan Musial, and I'm so happy that I picked up this Bob Gibson rookie card. So now, of course, now that I have the big card out of the way, now he does have a high number sort of short print card in the 62 set, I think. I think this is my only Bob Gibson card. So maybe a goal next year would be starting to work on a Bob Gibson run now that I have his rookie card out of the way. But yeah, definitely a tremendous purchase for me, and so glad I pulled the trigger. I just absolutely love this card. And at number 1, I think most of you who have been following my channel or who saw me at this year's National know what card number 1 is. I don't go to many shows. It's basically Strongsville National. And I try not to pigeonhole myself in saying I want a particular card. I usually go with a list of potential cards. I want to give myself the most flexibility. I don't want to try to force myself into buying a card because it's the one I want to pick up. But my goal going into the National, I saved, since last year's National, saved up money for this year's National to potentially be in a position to pick up this card. And I went into the National saying I would love to be able to pick up this card. Now, again, I wasn't going to force myself to buy just any copy. It had to be the right one for me. And I had some help along the way. Mike, Baseball Collector, thank you for scoping this card out at Ash's table, and worked out a deal before I even saw the card. He says, hey, if you're interested, here, he took a picture for me. If you're interested, this is the deal I got for you. It's a good deal. And once I saw it, yeah, my 1954 Topps Hank Aaron. That was originally in an SGC slab. It was an SGC 1.5. And so I knew going into it that not only for the purchase price, but I wanted to get it switched over. And I figured since I was at the show, it was going to cost me the same whether I had it graded at the show or whether I mailed it in. And I wasn't going to take the chance of putting this in the mail and sending it off to PSA and not getting it back for who knows how long. So I had it crossed over at the show, and it crossed over at the same grade, 1.5. I'm overjoyed that I finally have a 54 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card in my collection. Something I've been thinking about since I started building my vintage collection. I saw, all the other fellow collectors with their Hank Aaron rookie cards. Eric, those back pages say it's never a bad time to buy a Hank Aaron rookie card. I wanted, well, one, I was working on his Playing Days run, and of course this was the biggest card of his Playing Days run. I also managed to pick up, I think two other Hank Aaron's two or three other Hank Aaron's that I need at the National. So at the National, not only picking up his rookie card, but I picked up the remaining cards I needed for his entire run. So this year's National was just tremendous for me. I think the best one yet. And this is certainly a highlight of that National this year and my collection. It's not necessarily my most valuable card in my collection, but it is one that I will love forever. It's just a great copy. I love the centering on it, registration color. Yeah, it has some issues. It's a PSA 1.5. But just looking at it like this, oh, it's so beautiful. So couldn't pass up an opportunity, obviously, to do a video highlighting this card as my #1 pickup for the year. So would love to know in the comments, what do you think about my top 10 pickups for 2025? And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.